So I'm going to look at a different aspect to discipleship from the standpoint of view of communication. How vital is communication in our everyday life? It's quite important, isn't it? Where do you think most of our communication happens? Like, in what areas of our life do we communicate all the time, but there are places where we kind of communicate. For example, the workplace is the biggest place where we have to use communication to, to get things done. Let me just access my computer. Can I flip over to the other slide? The other one? Okay. So I want to talk about communication, and it's going to have some elements of discipleship through it, because I know we're talking about discipleship today. And communication is all about having facts. It involves people, interactions between one to another. It's about strategizing. It's about having other people involved. It's about ideas. You can see, I don't know if you can see the picture clearly, but communication involves a lot of these things. And I wanted to do something. Now you see under there it says Dope for Bird personality test. I want to do a test with you guys today on understanding your personality so that you can understand why people communicate and behave a certain way, and why people react to certain people's communication, and how can we better work together as a team, especially when you're at board meetings, when you are organizing things for church, as well as when you are going to follow through the aspects of being a disciple and sharing Jesus to others. Because it's even how you communicate to others about Jesus can either be off-putting or it can be very beneficial in helping in the process of Jesus saving that person's life. So we're going to go to communication. If you look at the list of people up there, do they seem to have different ways of communicating with others? For example, a mother. How does a mother communicate with a child? Can you give me examples of how mothers usually communicate or interrelate with their children? So their interrelationship means your reaction or your interaction, I should say, between you and a child. How do their relationship, or how do they interact with one another? Mothers are usually what? Caring. They have that caring communication. They're very soft-spoken, is that correct? Other times you may hear them yelling at their children. What else? Telling them off, disciplining them, and then you hear that harsh voice. Yep. What about the police? What type of interaction do they have with people in the way that they communicate with others? Say you got stopped by the cop on the road, on the side of the road for speeding. How would they interact with you? Maybe you've had an experience. Are they? What's that?
I said too many.
Someone's had too many tickets. But how do they interact with you? Are they quite authoritative?
Yes.
Yes, they are. And they're very firm and precise in what they want, right? They're straight to the point. I need your license. I need this. Why were you speeding? Right? They're not like, oh, so I see you were speeding. You may come across some police that might be like that. Is there a reason for your speeding? Oh, I'm just going to let you off nicely today. You may have that experience. But most of us, when we see the police, we're like, oh no, because we know they're really authoritative. What about a nurse? Caring. Yep. Loving. They're very good listeners. They want to hear your problems, what's happening, So you might have a good listener here. What about a teacher? Bossy. So some say bossy. Their interaction and communication is bossy. Caring. So some have had good experiences where teachers have been caring. Strict. Yep. So the way they communicate, they just want things done. Obey. I don't want none of this nonsense. What about, they're quite instructful, aren't they? They're very good at giving instructions. Do this, do this, do this. If you don't do this, this is what's going to happen. Is that correct? Yeah? What about a sales rep? What's their form of communication?
Deceiving.
They're manipulative, deceiving, yeah? Yep. They're good at what? Buttering you up? Yep, so they can get you to buy whatever they want. Yeah? What about retailers? So someone at the store, maybe just you're going to Kmart, they're really what? Helpful?
Yes.
So they ask you, oh, is there something you're looking for that, I can help you with?
Very polite.
Very polite. Yep. What about your friends?
Oh, yes. Funny.
Some are straightforward. They say what they're like.
Yes.
Yeah, don't think before they say anything. What else? Any other friends that their way of communicating, they're really blunt sometimes. They can be straightforward. Yep. Or you may have some friends that may be shy and don't say much. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go through communication. What is it? The imparting or exchanging of information by either speaking, writing, or using some other medium. So we have mediums such as body language, you've got Facebook, internet, you've got TV now, the media. So these are other forms of communication. You even got your newspapers, your books, and your leaflets. So, what are the core components of interpersonal communication? So I said interpersonal is between one person to another. It can be in your workplace, it can be in your home, as a parent to a child, or a spouse to a spouse. Here are the components of verbal communication. So most of you will know this. So verbal communication is what you say, okay? Non-verbal is your body language, and then paraverbal, it's how you say it with your tone, okay? Now, if you can see there's some numbers there, the percentage. 7% of your communication is verbal. Do you know the biggest part of your communication is actually your body language and your tone of voice? So if you're going to discipleship someone, or if you're going to go and share the gospel, it's not usually about what you say, it's about what you do. Yeah? It's how you live your life. It's how you communicate your life to others around you, that when they see that you're living the Christ-like picture, then they're more willing to what? To follow, like we were talking about, right? But if you just talk the talk and don't walk what you talk, it's not going to be effective, right? You're not going to be an effective disciple for God. Roles and responsibility. This is from our church manual about communication. It says, communication ministry calls for the support of every lay person, every church employee, every church institution. The communication department promotes the use of sound program of public relations and all contemporary technique, sustainable technologies, and in media in the promulgation of the gospel. So in other words, what its meaning is, communication ministry is vital to the church. How else are we going to reach the gospel to others if we don't know how to communicate effectively? The manual also says, our church manual says, every person in our church should know how to communicate effectively. And how can we do this? They've given us examples where we can either do it through programs, so running of programs, or contemporary technique, which is now we have Hope Channel, now we have First Light, we have the radio stations, right? Facebook, people put stuff on Facebook or YouTube. So this is the other ways that we can effectively share Jesus with others. Did you know communication is also a spiritual gift in the sense, in this verse that we all know from 1 Corinthians, it says, he gives spiritual gifts to another to do miraculous powers, to another to prophesy, to another distinguish between spirits, and distinguish between, spirits, and also be able to speak in different kinds of tongues. So that means we are able to speak and share the gospel to others who don't understand the gospel in English. So, for example, we have our Samoan speaking community here. They can share the gospel with others through their own language. Because it's not effective for me to share, say if I went to Samoa to the village and I spoke to them and shared Jesus in English and they don't understand me. Is that effective? No. Like, what's the point? So that is why God's given us all these different languages so that we can share His gospel effectively. We must take every justifiable means of bringing the light before the people. Let the press be utilized and let every advertising agent be employed that will call attention to the work. So it's pretty much what I've already kind of explained.
Excuse me. Did you know?
Yep.
Did you know that First Light now has an app that is going right round the whole world, England, everywhere?
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So there's an app now, she's saying. First Light has an app. So everywhere around the world now has access to it.
My daughter's watching it in Canberra.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's in England as well. It's going right round the whole world.
Yeah. So God is using all these means now to, and it's free. And that's the great thing, is to have this ministry free for others to have the gospel. Means will be devised to reach hearts. Some of the methods used in this work will be different from the methods used in the work of the past, and that's where just Gloria was saying. Before we used to, door knock. Yeah. Is that effective now? Not as much, is it? Not as much. I remember doing it when we were younger, door knocking. It's not as effective. That's why God's saying, Ellen G. White's ministry and evangelism in her book, sometimes we have to use new methods or the contemporary techniques to try and reach people, because people are changing. People's minds and views and technology, everything's changing. And if you want to reach those people, sometimes you have to use the means that we have at the moment to reach them. So I want to share a video. Do I have to push play on this thing or just play? Alright, can you just play this video for me?
Das hier ist mein Sektor. Das hier ist das wichtigste Gerät des Küstenwächters. Das Gerät und das Gerät. Überlebensradar.
Mayday, Mayday. Hello, can you hear us? Can you hear us? Can you... Over. We are sinking. We are sinking.
Hello? This is the German Coast Guard.
We are sinking. We're sinking.
What are you thinking about?
So how important is communication? See how important it is? These guys are sinking, and what does he think they're saying? What are you thinking about? So that's how important we need to understand how to communicate effectively, because if we're not, we can't save those people. That guy wasn't able to save them or help save them at all because he didn't understand what they were saying. So this is why it is important. So key to effective communications. I want to go through a test with you to see what your personality type is, so that we can understand why do I communicate the way that I do, and how can I communicate better when I'm interacting with these people, especially when you're in a board meeting. That's probably the worst place you want to interact with people, because you start to see people's true colors or communication skills. But you also, even in your home, in the marriage. God actually created us, we're as complex human beings, and we're all different, is that right? He didn't make us all the same, because that would be chaotic, I reckon, if we were all the same. So that's why this personality test is good, because it shows you the different personality. It's like it groups you into these personalities. It doesn't define who you are. One of them, because if you have a look at the 4 birds, which we'll look into detail more, there are 4. You may have scored high, for example, in dove, and then your next highest would have been peacock. Those 2 personalities will interchange. So maybe you're always dominant being a dove, but there are times where you may come out as a peacock. Okay? So don't think this is you, but there are times in your situation, if you're at work, and you may be different at work than at home. Because I'm different at home than I'm at work. You could probably be the same at church. Or yeah, when you're at home at your family. Okay, so here we go. This is what they mean. Dove, peaceful and friendly. Yes. So who are doves here? Who came out dove? Oh, there's a lot of you. Okay. What about an owl? Owl are known to be wise and logical. Don't worry, I'll get into more detail with these, but this is the basic. Who's a peacock here? Who came out with a peacock? One. Who came out peacock as number 2? Yeah. So number 2, so you are optimistic, you're very showy. Can you see the feathers of the when it comes out? Yeah, they love to show it off. So these are peacocks. They like to show their feathers. They like to be the center of attention. Okay? Eagles. What are anyone an eagle here? Oh, we didn't have 2. We have 3. Any more eagles? Yeah? The eagles are the bold and decisive. They know what they want and they will work for it, get it, and they can be blunt at times, but they like to get stuff done. They don't like to waste time. They want things done thoroughly, quickly, and I want to see results. Does that sound like anyone here?
Yes.
Yeah? Don't worry, these are only some of the attributes. We haven't gone into more detail yet. Okay, I thought we will talk about the matrix because there are 4 personalities here and somehow they interact with each other, right? We're always interacting. You may be married to someone who's an eagle and you may be a dove. How do you communicate? How do you work together? Because sometimes there are people who may be eagles who are, like you may be married to an eagle and you guys are very bold and uptight and like things done a certain way and you do not buck down, like you will not come down to the level to give, So sometimes you will butt heads. And this is where we need to have a look at how do we communicate with each other if you're a certain type of personality. So if you can see, I don't know if you can understand this or see it. The eagle and the peacock are not, no, I'll go this way actually. The eagle and the owl have low emotionality. Means they don't care about your feelings. Okay? So an eagle don't care about how people feel when they interact with them. Okay? You may know some people like this, you may be this person, I don't care about their feelings, I just want stuff done. I just want to get it all sorted. Yep. Then you have these 2, the peacock, they're social butterflies. They love people's attention. They love it when everyone's facing them and it gives them this high, right? So they're very emotional people and they make decisions based on their emotions. Then you have the doves. These guys are very emotional, but they're quiet. They're shy. They're shy. They're emotional in the sense that they're internal thinkers. They think about stuff a lot and they internalize it and then they make a decision, but they won't speak, their decisions or thoughts. Judging style is your decision making. Owls and eagles are thinkers. They think before they do stuff. Okay? So owls, you'll later know that they need facts. They need data. I need to know how this is going to work before we build the church. Do we have the money? Do we have this? Is this in place? Blah, blah, blah. There are people who are very organized and they're perfectionists. Okay? These guys are perfectionists. These guys, they just want the data. They just want to see results. They won't start a project unless they see that it's going to give results. Okay? So this is how they make the decisions. When it comes to peacocks and the dove, they base their decision on feelings. Oh, I'm feeling sad today, so I'm not going to go to work. Even though, the money's there, but I can't be bothered because that's how I feel today. I'm low lead. Or peacock, enthusiastic, bubbly, just out there. Yep, they'll make decisions based on how they feel. Because these people, they see the bigger picture. These 2 don't really see the bigger picture, they just see the narrow-minded, they're just black and white. It will work, it won't work. Okay? And then you see down here it says communicating style. So the dove and the owl, they're the type like to ask questions. Oh, so how do we do this? Can you tell me again how this works? You know, like when you're talking with someone, they're the asking type. But if you have an eagle, if you're an eagle or a peacock, the communication is telling. They order. They tell you what to do. This is how it's going to be. They don't ask for your opinions. They don't ask how are you feeling. They'll be like, no, this is how it is. Okay? But we'll go into more detail about these. Assertiveness. This is where you stand up for yourself and others, or also are you confident? Confident in what you're doing. Doves and peacocks, they're sometimes unsure, they're indecisive when they do things. And for the owl and the eagle, they're pretty much on the high side. Oh, sorry, these two are on the high side, these two are on the low side, sorry, on assertiveness. But I'll go into more detail about that. So, the dove. We have a few doves in here, don't we? Yep. So the doves, these are the harmony seekers. These guys like to make sure there's peace. Okay? They're the reconcilers. These are the ones that will try and make sure that we can sort the problem out. So you'll see at home if you have a brother and sister who's always jumping in, trying to sort out the problem. Doesn't get involved in the fights, but likes to, you know, come on guys, stop it. We need to, you know, stop. These guys are people orientated. So they care what people think. They care what people say. And they start to internalize these. Now doves are introverts. Okay? So everything gets internalized, they're shy, they kind of withstand back. They are very loyal though, and they're very friendly. So if you're in a workplace, you ask them to do something, they will get it done. Why? Because they are people pleasers. They love people, okay? But they love to help. They're also hardworking and a great team player. So these are the type of people you want if you're having to do anything in church, on your team, but also in your home if you want to get stuff done. These are the people you want. They're steady, stable, and supportive, so they're always there to help you out. And like I said before, they're concerned about relationships because they want to make sure that there's a good relationship between me and you. I don't want anything getting in the way. And processes. When it comes to process, it means when they're given a task, they like to focus on it and get it done. Okay? They don't like change. So over here, avoid change. So you may notice some of these don't like it when they say, hey, we're going to do this now. And you're like, no, but we've been doing this for many years. Why are we changing it now? These are the people that always will probably say, no, I don't want to do this. They don't like confrontation. So when they are confronted about an issue, you'll probably see them there, they may get upset and cry and go all shy. Those are the ones that don't like confrontation. They're not risk takers. So say if we had changed the plan, they're not willing to take the risk to change it. They're comfortable where they are. Okay? They will, what else have we got here? They are supportive, respectful, dependable, they're agreeable, willing to do whatever it takes to make it work, which I've already explained. And these guys are quite calm and relaxed. So that's why you see them when stuff are going wrong, chaotic, everyone's stressing out. These guys are the calm ones. Okay? These are the best ones to have around to calm the situation. Alright? Also, they don't like to conform to change. I mean, they tend to conform, so they stick to certain ways. And they're sometimes too dependent on other people. Meaning, they're always relying on someone else to give them the answer. Always relying on them to do something for them. Because they don't like to make decisions. They're very indecisive. Okay? They're also easily influenced by others who are greater influence in their lives. So, for example, you're at a board meeting. How do you know who the doves are? So I'm giving you an example. If you're at a board meeting and we're discussing a topic for change, or let's try something new, or whatever, who do you think the doves are in the meeting? Like, explain their characteristics.
want change.
The ones that voice they don't want change? Yep. They're the ones that don't say anything. Have you noticed? There are people in your meeting you will know, or even in Bible study, or even we have Sabbath school, you're trying to ask them to answer some questions in Sabbath school, and they don't answer. And you're getting upset, like, why are these people not answering my questions? You know, this is meant to be an interactive Bible study, and they're not answering. It's because they're shy. They don't like to voice what their thoughts, you know, what they're thinking. They keep it to themselves. So don't get angry if they're not replying back to you. It's because these people are quite shy. Okay? So they keep to themselves, and they won't, when they're in the board meeting, they're the ones that when everyone votes for something, they'll look around and see what everyone majority votes, and then they'll put the hand up. Okay? Because they will just go with the flow.
Yeah.
They will just follow everyone else because that's what's happening. Okay? Is this working? Wait. Communication style. Oh, hang on. Like I said, they're based on feelings. And they do see the bigger picture, but these guys are right-brained. So right-brained is where they look at the creativity, they're emotional. Left brain, you're more logical, you need mathematical, things have to be a certain way. When they come to communication, like I said, they like to ask because they're afraid to make decisions, so they ask for their opinions, okay? At work, they're pretty dependable on, because like I said, they will get the work done. And they, like I said, mediate problems. And negative work qualities is that they'd rather watch than do. So these are people that watch everyone before they make a decision. And they're not usually goal orientated, okay? And they also lack self-motivation sometimes. Peacocks, who are the peacocks? We got a few peacocks. You are the excitement seeker, okay? You have high assertive, you're very confident in yourself, and you're confident to stand up for yourself in the amongst everybody, and you're very emotional. These are the people who like to talk a lot, and that can be a negative thing too, okay? These are the people who like to talk a lot. They like to be a center of attention, and they have a wealth of passion, and they're highly enthusiastic, and they're very generally optimistic. Peacocks, however, can be accused of talking too much and tending to lag in the ability to deal with details or time management because they're everywhere. They think of one idea and they're like, oh, let's try this one. Oh, let's try this. Let's do this over there. They're like, just stick to the plan and follow it through. But these people don't. They're strengths, enthusiastic, ambitious, they're dramatic. Now I'm going to give you a hint. My husband is a peacock, and he's very dramatic, and he talks a lot, but he's mellowed down a lot. He talks a lot. He loves the attention. He's very good with people, but he just loves attention. But the good thing about these people is they're very trustful of others. They can also be a negative thing. If can you guys hear me, or do you want me to use the mic? You alright? You want me to use the mic? Hello? They can be over exaggerated, and they like change. So these guys like to make change. So you'll notice in the meeting that these are the people like, let's try this, because they can see the bigger picture of trying things. But the only problem with these guys is they don't follow through with some of their plans. They make their plans, but they don't get it done. They expect everyone else to get it done. Okay. Weakness, overexcitability, and manipulative. Very good manipulator. So if they want something done, they can sweet talk you out of it, or get you in a way that you will do what they like. Okay. They're egotistical, so they have high egos, and they're undisciplined. That's what I mean. They're all over the show. They've got no order or plan. Their judging style is they're based on their feelings again. They make decisions based on their feelings. Otherwise, they're also right-brained as well. Communication style, these guys like to tell people what to do. They're fast-paced. You can be an effective risk taker, so that, like I said, they like to make changes. And they're very loud and opinionated. So sometimes at your board meeting, you may have people like this who have a lot of opinions. They tend to be a rule breaker too, so if they want something done, they just don't think the rules apply to them. They're highly assertive, they make bold statements as well, and they're also selective listeners. So they only listen to what they want to hear, okay? Doves are good listeners. So if you want counseling, go to someone who's a dove, because they're very good listeners. Positive work quality, so in the setting of working or being in a discipleship, they enjoy thinking up new activities. They always volunteer themselves to do jobs, inspire others to participate, so they're very good at encouraging others, and they're very creative, colourful, and start tasks in a flashy way, so they go all out to do a great activity, and then love to be around people. The only problem is their confidence fades fast if things don't go through the way they want, and they don't really have priorities. It all kind of falls apart, and like I said, they are undisciplined. Okay, and they will lack energy if there's no people around. Doves like to be alone, and that's what energizes them to do stuff. But peacocks have to have people around to make them do things, to be energetic. Okay. Eagles. Who's our eagles? We've got a few. The result seeker. These guys want to see the results. Okay? They don't want your feelings. They want to see, is this going to work? Eagles are dominant, stimulated by challenge, so they love a challenge, okay? They're decisive, so they know what they want, and they're very direct. So if they want something done, they will direct it. They want it done a certain way. They can be blunt and stubborn. They can lose sight of the bigger picture and can be insensitive to other people's needs. And that's what I mean by they don't really care about people's feelings when they want something done, okay? They're actually natural achievers, and these people are probably the ones that you'll see in leadership positions, okay? They're crusaders or pioneers. Their strengths are they're strong-willed, they're independent, they can get stuff done by themselves, and they're practical, so they have to see stuff done. They don't just want words, and they're very efficient. The only problem is with these people that they can be over-dominating. They're very pushy and harsh, and can be a bully at times, and a loudmouth, and can become a tyrant sometimes when things don't go their way or if they're stressed. So imagine you're stressed about something that's not going your way. This is what will happen to them. Okay? They can make rash and reckless decisions. They're very impulsive, so they will just make a decision just to get it done. Okay? They won't look at the details. They're not about details. And what else? Thinking. They're thinkers, like I said. They're task-orientated, and they're predominantly left-brained, so they're pretty much logical, and they don't care about feelings or emotions. Okay. They're, like I said, they're the telling type, so they're generally fast-paced when they speak because they want stuff done. They will take risks, and they're also loud and opinionated, and they are also rule breakers as well, just because they want to see results. Otherwise, they move quickly into action. They're very goal-orientated because they want the production. They want to see results. Okay. What else have we got that's important here? Work qualities that are negative. Like I said, they make rash decisions. They don't analyze details, so I kind of already said that anyway. An owl. So this is our last one. The detail seeker. So these guys don't really have a lot of emotions either. They're logical, mathematical minded. These are the perfectionists. The owl can be slow to make decisions because they have to think about everything. They've got to analyze before they make a decision. And they're inflexible if rules and logic says otherwise. Owls are not big risk takers either, but they love their detail. So if you work with these people, like say you're a dove who's a feeling person, they don't want your feelings. They want you to give me the details why you want to do this. Okay? I need 10 reasons why, you know? Strengths are they like everything done in order, exactly the way it should be done, and they're persistent, and they're usually quite serious people. Okay? Weaknesses, they can be overcritical, generally indecisive, like I said before.
sometimes stuffy, overly picky, and sometimes oppressively moralistic. So they've got, too many rules. They've got all these ideas that has to be done a certain way and ethically, okay? Thinking, same thing as the owls pretty much. They're logical, don't really care about feelings that much. And here's our next slide. Pretty much the same thing. They like charts, graphs, schedules, lists. You know people who like these. They have to have a list to do everything. They're neat and tidy and economical too, so everything has to be cheap or worth. Otherwise, they're very hard to please. These people are hard to please unless you have the facts or the details, okay? And they like I said, they overanalyze everything before they make a decision. So how do doves work with other birds? So we're coming to the end of our presentation. So who are the doves here? So doves, be careful not to ask and feel too much. Because you guys, when you work with another dove, you two guys will just get too emotional, okay? Too emotional here. But if a dove was to work with an owl, they need to make sure that when they make decisions, try and be a little bit logical, have some reason, rather than say, no, but this is how I feel. They don't want to hear how I feel. When you work with a peacock, they want to see action, because usually they're dependent on you, so they're waiting for you to move, but peacocks actually want to see you do something and make the initiative to move. And eagles, they communicate with action and decide with sound reasoning. So same thing as the peacocks. They want reason and they want to see some action. So to be your best self, become more flexible with your routines. Yeah. More willing to negotiate change, because our doves don't like change. And they like, because I said they're very orientated with their tasks. So sometimes you need to be flexible when you're working with someone else. Develop your assertiveness skills, so many people are confident. Sometimes doves are not confident in themselves to make decisions. So this is something you need to do. And know that other people don't know what you're thinking. Because every time you make a decision, you're making a decision in your head, but not everyone in your family knows what you're thinking or in the workplace. And learn how to disclose yourself appropriately. So sometimes they don't know how to express their feelings, but in a public place or in a work setting, learn to share those feelings appropriately rather than burst out and share everything, because sometimes doves will do that. From Colossians 4:6 it says, let your speech always be gracious, seasoned with a little salt, so that you may know how to answer each person. Okay? So this is about communication with doves. Doves need something that is gracious when you speak. Eagles, when you speak, sometimes you can be very authoritative over a dove, and this will hurt their feelings. So if you tell them something to do and will confront them, they don't like it. So in a way, doves need someone to speak graciously to them. Okay? So if we have eagles and peacocks in here and you have to speak to someone, to a dove, they want to hear graciousness, something soft, kind. Seasoned with a little salt, so it has to have some truth in it, just to, if you're confronting them. But so they can understand what you're saying, okay? Peacocks. How do peacocks work with other birds? So a peacock to a dove, be more inquisitive and inclusive approach to communication. So, owls, be more inquisitive in communication and logical in deciding, it's the same thing. And when peacocks talk to peacocks, be careful of using too much doing and feeling, because these guys love to be in the limelight and share everything. Eagles, tailor your decisions more towards reasoning and logic, because peacocks just like to be all over the place. And the eagles just want you to just give me a decision. Stop making too many decisions, but just give me one that's going to work. Okay? So how can a peacock do their best to help being around other people or the other birds? Develop time management skills, because these guys don't have good time management. time management. The problem with these guys, they're selective listeners. So they need to listen, question what they've heard, pause to kind of think about it, because they're too impulsive. And be more discriminating, learn how to appraise people more realistically. Sometimes they over-exaggerate or overdo things just because they're in this enthusiastic mode. But be realistic when you're praising someone or helping encourage someone. Otherwise, resist the urge to do something new. Rein in your impulsiveness. So these guys, like I said, like to make a lot of decisions, a lot of new ideas. But sometimes when you're amongst doves and other people, you might just need to keep it down and not share too much of your ideas. And a word fitly spoken is like apples of gold in a setting silver. So with peacocks, yeah, they just need something spoken to them that sounds great in the ears, okay? Like apples of gold and setting silver, okay? All right, how eagles work with other birds. Same thing, be inquisitive, communication, and consider feelings when deciding. Same thing as well with owls and peacocks, tailor decisions more toward considering feelings and intuition. So, these guys are very impulsive and bold and will say things without thinking sometimes and be quite hurtful. Otherwise, be your best, take time to gather information and think through consequences of your decision, because we're so impulsive as eagles, we just want to see the results instead of taking the time to actually analyze everything. Instead of just announcing your decision, because these guys like to tell you what to do, actually explain why. This is sometimes in parenting, we like to be authoritative and tell our children to stop doing this, stop doing that, but we never tell them why. So this is going to be an example. And consult others, respect their input and keep them informed, because eagles don't like to listen to other people's opinions because sometimes they think they're always right. But then to be your best as an eagle, try and respect what other people put to the table, and keep them informed of your decisions or share why you're doing something. A soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Eagles need to learn how to give soft answers, because sometimes we can hurt someone when we say things, and it can stir up anger. Last one, how owls work with other birds. Pretty much the same thing as the others. Be careful of using too much when you're using the word to think, because they like to think a lot about stuff. So with doves, they just make sure you consider their feelings, because owls don't like to consider feelings of others, so include the dove's feelings as well. And when you're communicating with peacocks, or they want to see action, owls want to see actions, and consider their feelings as well. And the same with eagles, they just want to see actions, because owls do a lot of analyzing, but they don't like to do the task or get the task done. They just like to give the details. Okay. So to be your best as an owl, so if you're an owl, become more open to other people's way of thinking, because sometimes you always think you're right because you've analyzed the scriptures and you think your way is right, or a decision you guys make wherever you are. Learn when it's appropriate to settle for good enough, because these guys are perfectionists. So just tell yourself, I've done my best. That's all that counts, okay? Stop beating yourself over the head that you didn't do a good job and that you should have done it a certain way, and then you start hating yourself for it. Gain perspective on the consequences of being wrong, and know that you don't have to know everything before voicing an opinion or making a decision. So these guys just sit there. You see wise people, they like to just think and ponder and think, and you're trying to think, are you going to say something? Then they don't say something, because they still want to get all the rest of the facts before they give their answer, okay? But this is just saying, just give what you have at the table. Don't you just sit there and try and get every information before you share your opinion. The tongue of the wise commands knowledge, but the mouth of the fools pour folly. So the tongue of the wise commands knowledge, and that's why we need the owls to speak up, because these guys are the wise ones. They analyze, they've looked into all the detail. We don't want them to keep it to themselves, because sometimes owls will always keep it to themselves
because they're not satisfied with their answer. Okay? So, our last slide, spiritual implications. When we're talking about discipleship, Christ is our example of effective communicator. I believe that with all these 4 birds, there is a balance, you know. There are things that we can get from all the different birds, the personalities. You will not always be an eagle for the rest of your life. Because I'll give you an example. Growing up, I used to be a dove. You will not see me stand up here and speak to anybody. I will not speak to anyone unless they spoke to me first. And you know what? It was only through the grace of God, the time I spent with him, and learning of him, and having a willingness to do things for him, that God changed my personality. And believe it or not, I'm probably, because this test keeps changing for me, but I'm more of probably a peacock and an owl. But in my married life, my husband thinks I'm an eagle. an eagle and an owl, because I demand things in the married life and I need, answers from him as an owl. But God will change your character so that it fits his ministry. He will use whatever personality you have and build up on it, okay? So don't think, eagles are the worst ones. Eagles are not the worst. Eagles are good. We need leaders like that who can get things done. We need doves because they're loving and caring to understand people, okay? You need the owls because they have the wisdom to impart upon us. And we need them not to shut their wisdom inside of them, but to share it with us so that we can learn of them, okay? And who's the other one? Peacock? Did I mention peacock yet? And peacock, they're the people pleasers. They love being around people. This is the people you want to be around because they can get stuff done, because they're the influencers, okay? So you need these people in your group, in your family, in your church, to get things done. They all have their roles, but we just need to learn how to interact with one another to make things work in the ministry, especially when it comes to discipleship. Use those qualities that you have to reach people. And that's what I'm saying, like before, if you speak harshly to someone who wants to come to know Christ, will they follow you? If you're going to be authoritative and tell them you're doing something wrong, instead of sharing the love of Jesus first before you pick on all their sins, right? So Christ's method alone, I think, is the true method for discipleship, which is our last slide. Christ's method alone will give you true success. This is from Ellen G. White's writing. True success in reaching the people. What did he do? The Savior mingled. How do we mingle? Someone's doing a dance. Is that how we mingle? How do we mingle? Do we just stay at home and mingle? We need to go out and mingle with other people. Go into their social cultures. I'm not saying go to the pub or whatever to find them, but there are places like the workplace. Their home, invite them. Mingle with them. Do an activity with them. When the Savior mingled with me as one who desired their good. So don't go there because you want to have a good time. Go with the intention that you want to do something good for this person. You may know that they're going through a struggle. I want to go spend time with them because I want to help them. What did he do next? He showed sympathy. I like the word empathy because it actually allows you to put yourself in their shoes and go through what they're experiencing. So when you mingle with someone who's going through depression, don't just say, yeah, I understand you. Oh, yeah, I understand you. I'll pray for you. They don't want that. When you mingle with someone and sympathize and empathize, they want you to put yourself in their shoes and go, okay, well, you're going through this problem. I'm going to come and visit you every day. I'm going to go and cook for you. I'm going to clean your house for you. That's showing empathy, or as well as visiting and helping them understand where they're at. Then what did he do? He ministered to their needs. So that's what I mean by once you understand where they're coming from, help them. Don't just pray for them. God was a God of Jesus in his ministry. He did more healing and going around than he did standing and preaching the word, didn't he? Yeah? And then what he did, he won their confidence. How amazing is this process? It says this is how we get true success in reaching people. When we mingle, when we sympathize, when we minister to their needs. Then what happens? These people will trust you because why? You understand where they're coming from.
And then what happens next? He said, then he bade them follow me. And that's what? Discipleship. Can I hear amen?
Amen.
The thing is this though. Some of us are very good at mingling, sympathizing, ministering needs, and then we stop there. I'm going to be honest, I'm bad. I stop there, and then I don't share the gospel. Some of us are at the opposite end. We say, follow me first before I help you. So, but Jesus said that's not the way of true success. It's mingle, sympathize, minister to their needs. When they trust you, then you can share the gospel of Jesus. Amen? I pray that with the personalities that you've had and learned about who you are with these tests, that God will use you to be able to mingle with people and know how to interact, how to talk with them, how to make decisions with them, so that you can sympathize, empathize, minister their needs, and then you'll be glad that you were able to make disciples because you followed the path of Jesus. And so my prayer for you guys today as we end is that we will use Jesus' method alone to do discipleship. There are a lot of methods out there. We come up with so many strategies and programs to do discipleship, but Jesus just gave us this, Ellen G. White just gave us the simple one that Jesus used in the Bible. Mingle, sympathize, minister, and then follow me. So let us pray. Actually, I would like you to just bow your heads and pray for yourselves that God will use you to be a disciple for Him using your personality. And then I'll just end with a prayer. So I'll give you 1 minute to pray to the Lord in silent prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we just want to thank you for giving us this time to learn of you. We thank you for teaching us things that we may not have known about ourselves and about our spouse, about our children. We wonder why we interact the way that we do with others and how we communicate with others in a certain way. Lord, forgive us if we have communicated in a way that has pushed people away from you, that has pushed people away so that they may not follow you as the true disciple. Lord, I just ask that you use us and mold us to be of your character so that we may mingle with others more. Some of us may find it hard to mingle because we're like doves, we're shy. But give us the strength of Jesus to be faithful to you and being loyal to you, to do your work, Lord, so that we can minister the needs of those who need you out in the community. So help us make it our goal this week, Lord, to minister to someone, to mingle with someone. We can empathize and sympathize with someone so that, Lord, in the end, it is your Holy Spirit that will convict their heart to follow you. Help us to be better examples being a disciple so that your work may be fulfilled before you come home and take us with you. In your name I pray. Amen.